The morning sky had just begun to change color. A soft orange hue spreading across the eastern horizon, like the gentle promise of a new beginning. But even before the sun could rise fully, Rogov was already awake. Not because he had a habit, but because life had trained him that way. His body, aged and worn, moved like a machine long past its prime but still loyal to duty. He wrapped his faded cotton cloth around his head, slid his cracked feet into dusty slippers, and picked up his hammer, the same one he'd carried for over 20 years. Rogov was a stone breaker, but not the kind that gets remembered. Not the kind whose name ever made it to a newspaper or a government list. He was the kind who worked in silence, broke stones under the open sky, and went home quietly when the job was done. This day was no different. He walked toward the rocky hill, which stood like an immovable mountain of resistance, mocking the tired dreams of laborers like him. The sun had begun to rise, and with it came the unforgiving heat. By 9 a.m., the sky would feel like fire. The ground would burn under bare feet, and sweat would soak through every piece of clothing. But Rogov kept walking. Hammer, the place of pain and purpose. The rocky hill was not beautiful. It was dust, stone, and silence. Here, men came to survive, not to live. Huge rocks lay scattered like broken giants, each one waiting to be turned into construction material. The laborers were not just workers. They were invisible engines powering a city that would never know their names. Rogov took his place near a half-broken boulder. He looked up at the sun for a second and then brought down his hammer with full force. A sharp crack echoed. Then again. And again. Each strike echoed not just through the stones, but through his bones. Each sound was a note in the symphony of his survival. A younger man nearby grunted after a few minutes of work and sat down. "This is torture," he said. Rogov didn't answer. He just smiled faintly and kept striking the stone. What the young man didn't know was that Rogov had a reason far stronger than heat or hunger. A father's dream. At home, a small hut stood on the edge of a village. Its walls cracked, its roof leaking in monsoon. But inside it was warm with love. There lived Rogov's pride, his 14-year-old son, Oriv. Oriv wasn't like the other village boys. While they played cricket in dusty fields, Oriv read books. While they chased kites, Oriv chased a dream to become a civil servant. Someone who could sit in an office, make decisions, change lives. Maybe even change his father's. And Rogov supported him with everything he had, which wasn't much. He couldn't read, but he made sure his son had books. He couldn't speak English, but he made sure Oriv could. He couldn't afford shoes for himself, but Oriv always had a pair. So, when Rogov struck those stones under the sun, he wasn't breaking rocks, he was building a future.